Welcome back, and today we're in sunny Rushworth in central Victoria, and we're just going to go into the state forest and around Whroo, which is an old gold mining settlement in central Victoria, and around the old mine area itself. I've just come up here to film some stuff, to do some reels for Instagram, but I'm also going to post the footage onto my YouTube so everyone can have a look around the area, because it'll be a bit of a detailed look. I'll be in and out of all the different spots around there and just have a look at the mine, overhead of the mine itself with the drone. So it should be interesting for people that have never been there before. But in the foreground now, that's Rushworth. And you can see the Whroo Basin on the other side. I'm just doing a full 360 here, so I'm going to come back. And that's the state forest we'll be in all through here in central Vic. There's a lot of gold come out of there, and that's the Whroo Basin in the background there. But there's a lot of camping and all that sort of stuff, and water sports when the lake's full, and that's the main drag just heading down there. And Rushworth's got a sensational bakery that's well worth the drive. But you can see the terrain from above here. It's very sparse and dry sort of ground, rocky, gravelly, but it's good for doing four-wheel driving. And throughout the area there's really bad water erosion, so you've got all of those sort of things to deal with getting in and out of and testing your 4B out. But all through the bush here there's great big mounds from digging shafts for the gold mines, and if you've got kids on board, you just wouldn't let them run around free in the bush, because there's a lot of open shafts and that around. You can never be too careful. There's prospecting went on right through here. The Chinese were big here as well, like they were in most of the gold fields. Off we go. This is just coming out the edge of town. This is right on the edge of town here, as you can see from the drone. And I apologise for no sound here. My intention was never to post this, but I'll put some music to it, as well as the narration as we head through here. And the bitumen road you can see through to here, that's the Ngambie Rushworth Road. And the bitumen runs out just a bit further down, probably about another car or two down, and then it's dirt pretty well all the way to Ngambie. It stops about 5 or 6 k's out, I think. It's not far. But you can see some of the diggings here, and there's modern prospecting going on here too. Obviously there's grey nomads frequent this area as well with the metal detectors. And there's lots of fresh scratchings and stuff you see throughout. But all this stuff here is digging for old shafts. And I think people from the local area, it's probably local government and others involved back in maybe the 70s, 60s or 70s, there's some of the bigger, deeper shafts have got fencing around them. So I think most of them are pretty well catered for, but you never know in the bush, something can let go that was covered over, and so you just got to be a little bit careful walking around this area. And we're heading south here on the western side of the road. And I'm just going to head out into the scrub here a bit, just testing the drone out through the trees here and just programming some of the points in and seeing how I can get it to fly. Less assisted by me. But you can see it's a pretty sketchy proposition for a crash. And the area is split up into two localities really. It's part of the Strathbogie Shire and the Campaspe Shire. And anyone familiar with Victoria and early exploration and that would know the Major Mitchell Trail. Well, Major Mitchell come through here. And a couple of sailors kicked a nugget in about 1854 walking through the scrub here, and that was the start of the gold boom here. And they built the town and the Balaclava mine which is really worth a visit. It's, you know, if you're into that early gold mining history, it's definitely one to have a look at. Yeah, and at 1854, that's real early in the Victorian gold rush side of things. It's one of the first places that they started to rip into. Which, as you're driving through here, you can see there's just so much diggings and that around, and it's hard to imagine when you're driving through here now. This would have just all been tents and really populated here. It's easy to mispronounce it, Whroo, but it's actually pronounced Whroo, as in kangaroo. And Whroo is an Aboriginal word for lips, and that was derived from the lay of the land, apparently, from the Aboriginal people. And the Balaclava mine, that's named after Balaclava Hill that it's actually situated on, but Balaclava Hill was named after a battle in Crimea back in the day. One of the things I love about Rushworth and the Whroo area is that the ironbark trees. It's just a real classic look, and they're sort of on their own in the region, and really, really nice spot, especially in the bright light of day. Just the texture of the bark on the ironbark trees, it's just really sensational. And I'm having a little bit of success with the obstacle avoidance here. I got a bit close a few times and trimmed some branches with the drone, but you can see they're quite hard to pick up, but the LiDAR on the drone seems to do a really good job in this sort of light here. And you can see that I'm just about to pass over one of the walking tracks through the area, and up to the left there you can see there's some sort of water trench there as well. There's all sorts of markings and stuff on the ground from people getting around prospecting even today. And the drone's set to full autonomous here, following the vehicle down the road. Get some close calls. And it got a bit annoyed because it was starting to spit a little bit of rain, as you can see, and trying to pick up all the branches and the rain and all that at the one time, it didn't want to play. So I had to pull it in for a bit. So the drone gets a good test through here. It's just wind's getting up a little bit, starting to spit rain a little bit. It's just that mid-afternoon central Victorian stormy spring environment. This area's been big for four-wheel drivers and motorbike riders for decades, right back to the 70s. And there's lots of diggings around this next area here. I'm sure it had a name back in the day. And I'm going to start mucking about here, doing a bit of off-road through all this erosion area and these diggings, see if I can get some footage for the reels. I'm going to have to find a raincoat for the drone the way it's going. And I turned it into a seesaw here, bottomed it out in the middle. I didn't go too berserk. I'll try and drive off it rather than have to winch off it. If you're in northern Melbourne or the western suburbs of Melbourne or Bendigo or whatever, this is a good place to bring it if you're new to four-wheel drives and you want to come out and test your vehicle and find its limits and just get a feel for it. This is just one of those areas that's really good for testing things out because it's so stony, like gravelly, and the water runs off it pretty well. Even when it's wet here, you won't get stuck, and it'll be muddy and slippery. So you can just play around forever, just finding the limits of the car without tearing the place to pieces either. And you can see this is just a bit of a walk in the park for old Disco. It's a bit of a warm-up before the main event, but she rides over this stuff beautifully. And this is nothing to worry about. These two clash regularly. The drone's just going to take off and clear its head here. It's a little bit angry at the Disco for touching it up, but it comes good. The Disco's got more propeller marks in it than your regional airport. They don't get along sometimes. And it's got absolutely nothing to do with the guy with the control in his hand. Classic close-up shot here of the ironbark and the texture. These banks in the erosion are a really good breakover test for your 4B. You'll find the limit pretty quick on these and just get a really good idea, whether you're off into the high country later on or whatever, you'll know what you can break over and what you're going to make it and what you're not. And you can make all the mistakes here out on the flat with nice heaps of room to recover the vehicle rather than find it all out on the side of a really steep slope somewhere in the high country. And you can see they're coming back to where they clashed before and the drone says, no, you don't. Not this time. I had to manually bring it in closer. The other great part about it is it's close to other regional centres like Shep and Bendigo, even to Echuca. It's not far from here once you're at Rushworth. So you can come up and camp and do a bit of four-wheel driving, but there's other things in all of those areas and even closer around here. There's a heap of stuff to do in this region. I'd suggest if you don't have any bar work on your 4B to have a spotter with you and just keep an eye on some of the clearances, because you can definitely take a bumper bar off, and it tests your approach and departure angles on all this sort of gear. This next bit here is not the sort of bit you'd come through in a twin cab ute with a tray or something on, because you'd be still sitting in the middle or still trying to dig up the front like a bulldozer. It's quite a tight little pinch that the Discovery's in here. It's amazing how it gets out of it so easy. But having said that, you wouldn't be fitting many tools in the back of the Discovery either. And it just brings you back to the facts really with all to do with four-wheel drives, and that is that there really is no one perfect vehicle. And most people usually do choose the vehicle in the end that's going to best suit them. And, you know, most of the time, a twin cab ute's probably the best thing to have, because you can tow heaps of stuff with it, fit heaps of tools on it, you know, use it for camping or touring Australia. Okay, that's enough of a play around in that little area. I'm just going to head south now towards the mine and have a bit of a look down there. And you could just picture this place back in the 70s and 80s, because there's other places like it around in Australia now. It just would have been full of old car bodies and rubbish, and they've done a really good job of cleaning it up. You can see I'm just coming up here to the right, there's all heaps of old 1930s cars all pushed into some water erosion here. And that would have been right throughout this, and they've cleaned it up quite nicely. And you really get a good bird's eye view of the place here with the drone before you come up and sort of see what you're getting yourself in for. It's really hard to believe nowadays that there was a huge town in here. You know, 3 churches, I think 5 churches, 4 pubs, Mechanics Institute, all that sort of stuff, and there's just nothing. It's all gone. I was reading on some of the signposts that farmers bought the buildings and dismantled them and took them out and used them as sheds. gets a bit shaky until the propellers sort themselves out and spin properly again. I'm on the western edge here at the Chinese area. It backs onto farmland just off the side here. Heading over to the mine now. It's well worth the wait to see this, and heading down to the cyanide baths as well, where they used to process the gold. There's some really good four-wheel driving in amongst that. And directly across from the mine here, I'm just going to do some four-wheel driving up here and see if I can get some articulation for those reels. There's fenced off shafts all around this area here, so it must have been pretty rich in gold, I'd say. And this is the Balaclava mine just over the road here. Just waiting for the rain to stop and I'll send the drone up for a look right over the top of it. If you're sitting around bored one day on a Saturday, this is the place to come. It's well worth the drive. It's a great look at the history of the area, and it's quite interesting in and around the mine shaft itself, or shafts. Like Ballarat and Bendigo, you can pretty much have this place to yourself most of the time. It's a nice quiet place to come and soak it all in. And don't forget the Rushworth bakery, which is only just down the road. By the time you get something to eat and a cake, stay away from those cake cabinets. Very, very dangerous. And by the time you get out there, your coffee will still be hot. And that's definitely not a paid advertisement. It's just, there's not that many places that are worth mentioning. And the Rushworth bakery is a good one. I apologise for some of the clunky drone footage here. I should have cut some of it out. Those hills on the horizon, that's Heathcote over that way. Okay, we're just entering the cyanide pits or the vats, and this is a really good area to come out and do a bit of four-wheel drive, and this is right beside the Nagambie Rushworth Road too. It's very sandy in here, but it's a really good test for your 4B. The sun's popped its head out a bit here and you can see the colours starting to come through. It's a really nice area. Don't rip into this one too quick going downhill. There's a nice little rut and a dip on the other side from people spinning the wheels and getting stuck on the way up. But if you fly into it on the way down, it'll throw you up against that sand wall there. And a credit to the locals and whoever's in charge of the area. There's just no rubbish to be seen anywhere here, and this is a quite popular area. The tree got a bit of a prune, but it managed not to bite the dust, which was good. I'm not sure how long the residue from the cyanide lasts in the ground, but there's no dead bodies lying around here in the cyanide pits, so it can't be that bad. And I know that people say that they've been riding motorbikes in here since the 70s. it really would be good to see a few people just lob out here, a couple of mates and different cars, and that normally wouldn't test them out off-road, and just come out and, yeah, have a crack. Bring a snatch strap and have some fun. It's really hard to get an idea on the camera how steep some of these little jump ups are, but they're definitely testers, that's for sure. This one here's tested a few people out. It's been dug out where people have stopped here, where it stopped me. I just haven't got the momentum up here. I'm just testing the vehicle out. But the right-hand side there in front, or the left-hand side now, it's had a great big hole dug out of it from people just spinning there while they're being stuck. So it really throws you off to one side. But it's a great little tester for someone or people that have got standard four-wheel drives and want to come out and sort of get a wheel off the ground and feel the balance of the car, because you're not going to tip it over here, not unless you do something absolutely crazy and run up on the side of the bank. But you can see here, I'm just showboating here in the Discovery, getting the wheel off the ground. And you can see the no diff lock in the front, but it's even safer in a standard 4B that's not lifted. You know, you haven't destroyed your balance from lifting it yet, so yeah, you can have some fun on there without worrying about tipping it over. And this one looks quite tame, but it does lean over into the bank there. You can see that rubbing up against the side of the sand and the embankment there, but the bar's protecting it pretty well. And I made the mistake of pulling up too early there. I thought I'd crested it, but it was so soft it just stopped instantly. You can see I'm probably a lot more old school in my approach. I try and do it as easy as I can on the car first, rather than pressing the launch button and destroying the car, trying to get up something that's, you know, that you can just climb up pretty normal if you work a way around it. I'm not sure if anyone's seen the meme with the drone waking up from a nightmare in bed, shaking. It's quite funny. It reminds me when I see some of the close calls through here. They definitely give them a bit of a scare. I haven't gone into a detailed history here, but you can see bricks off in the distance there from the old vats. But there's lots of signposts and boards in the area explaining the history, and you can drive around from board to board and just really explore in the area. And that's just about it for this video. I've come back to this area, and I've got another video that I'll also post up on a different section. It's also got some big mounds and some wild erosion and four-wheel driving as well. And I'll post that up soon onto the YouTube channel.